and welcome to another episode of our From the Helm series here at Bell Financial Group. I'm 𝗙𝗿𝗺, Senior Market Analyst with Bell Direct and Bell Financial Group, and there is no denying that the AI rally has been running red hot recently, and no better time to talk to someone in the logistics, technology and AI space than Mark Connell, the CEO of Yojee. Mark, thank you so much for joining us today. For our investors who don't really know the Yojee story, can you tell us about the company and what you've been up to?
Yeah, thanks very much. It's great to be here. So first and foremost, Yojee is a logistics tech company. So we write technology for the logistics space. Our customers are typically freight forwarders, transport companies, beneficial cargo owners or shippers who sort of come together on a single platform to manage and execute freight. So what we're trying to do is unite players on the supply chain in a single ecosystem that's very collaborative, and we're trying to disrupt traditional logistics models at scale. So.
Now, there's no denying WiseTech plays in this space, and you are previously from WiseTech. Tell us about what you're going after in this $40 billion industry and why you see Yojee as the way forward in this growth area of the market.
Yeah, so well, that's exactly what we are trying to do. We are competing directly with the CargoWise One platform, also TradeWindows platforms as well. But we have the advantage of building technology in 2025, and so a lot of the incumbents are over 25 years old.
Yeah.
So they're written on different tech stacks and different times. And make no mistake about it, this is a $40 billion play for us, even larger. And what makes us really different is we're sort of building a very collaborative single platform. So I use the analogy, if you can bear with me,
of course,
a little bit. I have used this before, but it's an easy way to explain to investors how different we are and how disruptive we are. So in the 90s, what I say to people is, you know, when we took photos, when we traveled, we would take a photo and we would print that photo out 9 times. And we would send that to our family and friends and cousins.
I'm a 90s baby. I have all of that at home.
And it would take weeks for that photo to move. And so freight is exactly the same thing. If you're exporting freight from, say, London to Sydney, and even if you're on our incumbent platforms, but different logos, I might stress, so if you're different agents working in an agency network, that freight gets duplicated in multiple systems, and it's very difficult for the shipper or for different actors in the supply chain to get true visibility over their freight.
Yeah.
And then Mark Zuckerberg came along and he created a platform called Facebook.
Yep.
And so what happened then is we all put our photo on that platform once, and then everyone subscribed into Facebook and could see your photos, right? And so that photo is a single photo or representation in real time, and it revolutionized the way we changed photo sharing. And so Yojee and Mosaic is very similar to that analogy. We will create a single platform where the freight is registered at export, and anyone, no matter who your logo is, will be able to see that freight in real time.
Wow. And
that gives complete visibility to everyone who's acting on that piece of freight, right? It's what Netflix did to Blockbuster. It's what 𝗙𝗿𝗺𝗺 and Resolute and these types of digital banking apps are doing to the traditional bricks and mortar banks.
Ubers.
And what Uber did to taxis. Exactly right. So yeah, that's the play here, and we believe we've got a global platform. We're not trying to build a different mousetrap. What we are doing is looking at a completely different way to build technology for logistics in 2025.
Now, shares have run over the last 12 months. What do you attribute this to for the company Yojee?
I think there's a number of factors. You know, since Shane and I took over running of the company almost 12 months ago, we've completely sort of re-engineered it from the bottom up. We've, I don't like to use the word cut costs, but we've looked at where our costs are, and we spend every dollar in making sure that we're increasing revenue or bringing new customers on. Yeah. We've also managed to sign a couple of really big global contracts or global logos, if you like, in DSV and Rolig. So that saw a bit of a bump in the share price. We've managed to expand our footprint with Asia Paper and Pulp, or APP, and seen their growth grow really significantly with our TCMS product, which really proves out the value of our existing products. But of course, you know, the elephant in the room is Mosaic, and people understand that play from, you know, what happened to WiseTech's share price. But I think what we're really seeing now, especially since we introduced Mosaic to the freight forwarding industry at 𝗙𝗙𝗺𝗺 in Adelaide, and 𝗙𝗙𝗺𝗺, for those of you who don't know, is the largest freight forwarding conference in Australia. We sort of launched it there, introduced it. Shane and I are very big fans of making sure we don't fall in love with our own ideas. So we wanted to really show the industry what Mosaic was and how it was different.
Yep.
And we did see an increase in share price from that point on. And I think a lot of the people who were at that conference, they're owners of logistics businesses. They really understand the bet. They understand the value of Mosaic. And I think they're investors themselves. And I think they're investing heavily in Yojee as well now.
Now, customer growth and acquisition and partners are really important in the logistics software company, as we've seen around the world. How are you seeing the most traction, and where are you seeing most growth, especially in Southeast Asia, Australia? What type of customers are you seeing?
Yeah, so typically our customers are freight forwarders, third-party logistics and transport companies, but we've seen a lot of success with what we call beneficial cargo owners or shippers, and these are the people who actually own the freight.
Okay.
We've seen a lot of growth in Indonesia, and Southeast Asia, but Singapore. But we are now starting to grow here in Australia. We've always been in Australia, being an ASX listed company, and recently we opened an office here in Sydney.
Cool.
So we were really wholly Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, and an office in Vietnam. But the development of the Mosaic product, and I know you're going to talk about this, but what I learned from my days at 𝗙𝗿𝗺𝗺 is I really wanted to develop that product in Australia. Yeah. Using Australian engineers, very much centred around Shane. So,
so now talking about that, experience and management is crucial for a lot of investors, and when they're looking at considering and investing companies. Now, what have you taken from your days at WiseTech and brought forward into your time with Yojee? And obviously you're at Mainfreight as well, so taking everything you've learned, how are you going to take that forward into Yojee?
Yeah, so I started at Mainfreight as quite young, and it really is a special company. It's really impressed on me a lot of my core values now. You know, what it taught me was it's about how to make decisions. So one of the things you learn at Mainfreight is the company makes decisions for what's good for Mainfreight in 100 years.
Wow.
Not what's good for it in 6 months. Yeah. And
that's rare to hear.
It is. And that's why it's a very successful New Zealand business, because when you look at decision making through those lenses, you start to make what I feel more correct decisions for the long-term benefit of your shareholders and your company. It also it instills a deep sense of culture in you. It's a very family-orientated company, and what you'll find at Mainfreight is that management and operations, they're all one. They don't see themselves higher or lower. Everyone eats lunch at the same table. It's a really, really great company to have learnt my trade at. Going to WiseTech, look, WiseTech there's no denying it. It's a fantastic company for the Australian technology landscape. 𝗙𝗿𝗺𝗺 and his team have done a lot for Australian tech. Built a $30-40 billion company out of his garage. Yeah. And I was fortunate enough to be along from the early days. And one of the things that Richard taught me personally was to stay in your lane, focus on what you can control. He's a very focused and driven man. And I was fortunate enough to work into many facets of the WiseTech business. So I started off in product and engineering. I was fortunate enough to lead the domestic logistics team, moved to Europe, helped organically grow the European divisions into Middle East and Africa and Europe, and worked with marketing and learning and development. And then, of course, I came back to Australia and I led a sales team. So I had great opportunities to work across every aspect of that business. Yeah. But, it's fair to say that not everything resonated with me. And, Shane and I, with Yojee, are going to change a lot of the things that we didn't like working at WiseTech. And a couple of those things was how we engage with customers. We really want to partner with our customers, and we also want to build trust into our commercial models, right? So there's good and bad, and you take the good and you leave the bad. And
lesson or a blessing is everything in life.
That's an excellent way to look at it.
Now, looking forward, obviously there's a bit of an elephant in the room. WiseTech is known to acquire almost every competitor on the market, 60 over the last decade, I think, acquisitions they've made. Is that a concern of yours, that they could come marching on the door of Yojee to acquire you, or how do you see that landscape playing out? Yeah, look,
I get asked that a lot. And look, we're a publicly listed company, and when we saw what WiseTech did with E2Open and their recent acquisition. But one of the fortunate things that we have is we have a very tight share register. So 60% of it, or just under now because of all the share buying, but just under 60% of our shares is held by the top 20 shareholders.
Wow, that's quite a significant amount.
Yeah, which I'm one of those. So it would require a significant number of people to want to sell. And again, our share registers, especially at the top end, understand that this is a multi-billion-dollar play.
Yeah.
And so, I've been assured that those guys are all hanging out for the longer term rather than the short term. So I'm fairly comfortable that we'll be okay. And I think, to be fair, if you look at the Mosaic market and what we're going after, and we make no secret about it, we're going after not the top forwarders. YOJ have always talked about the top 200 forwarders, and that is their market space, and they're a truly global business. And where we're starting in Australia and New Zealand, of course, we want to be global.
Yeah.
We're looking sort of at that bottom 80%, which are the small to medium forwarders. And I don't think that would concern them too much if they came over to Mosaic.
You took some market share as well. Now, what is the current state of Yojee's balance sheet, and how close are you to turning a profit? Investors always like to hear about the financial status of a company. So can you run us through that side of the business?
Yeah, sure. So we've just recently raised.
Yeah.
And it was oversubscribed and within a matter of hours. So we're fortunate enough to have a number of sophisticated investors wanting to participate in those raises.
Yeah.
We certainly could have raised more, but we're very intentional about how we raise and what we use the money for. So, Yojee in the past, and you can't get away from it, has raised significant amounts of money, and I don't believe it's been used wisely. So our cash positions, I'm fairly comfortable with it now. We've got enough money to do what we need to do. We've been clear about the gates that we need to move through in order to be successful.
Yeah.
We've presented that to the ASX, and we have met all our gates, and our cash position and our balance sheet will allow me to move through the next few gates.
Perfect.
So I'm not too concerned about that. We're looking to become EBITDA positive or profitable sometime in calendar 2027.
Yeah.
So next year is about building revenue, building on the Mosaic pipeline.
And talking about revenue, do you operate on a SaaS model, subscription model? How does that work? And obviously we know that bodes well to fair kind of any economic conditions, because contract revenue means annual recurring revenue comes through. So how does the revenue operate at Yojee?
Yeah, so we're trying to make this very simple.
Yeah.
So that's what makes us very different to our incumbents, the incumbents. So we have it's really simply just a usage-based model.
Okay.
Very simple contracts. A bit like telephone contracts these days are very. We want to make it very easy to get on and get off, because we really believe in our products.
Yeah.
So we believe that if our products and our commercial models are right for the market, then we shouldn't lose customers. So we shouldn't be too concerned about locking people in for long-term contracts, right?
Yeah.
In our TCMS, we just have a single transactional price for every shipment or every movement of freight. We have very low subscriptions or minimums. And as our customers grow, we grow as well.
Yeah.
And with Mosaic, we plan to do the same. So we will have a simple transaction price. We'll have a prepaid model where we take cash up front. But again, low subscriptions or no subscriptions. A very simple model to understand, right? So people can really understand what their costs are and reflect it to the movement of freight. Yeah.
Simple is often the best way, especially in such a complex industry. Now, what's your revenue growth pipeline look like for the next 12 months, especially for the rollout of Mosaic?
Yeah. So we anticipate to grow TCMS very modestly. So, we've sort of reflected that to the market. We don't expect any significant growth in TCMS, which is our existing product, for the next 12 months. Our next milestone for Mosaic is in the last quarter of this calendar year is to start releasing to what we call our trusted insiders. So we have 3 or 4 customers who we've been working with on what's going to be great about Mosaic and what's not going to be great about Mosaic. So we plan to beta test that with them. And we don't anticipate any revenue from those guys. We're not going to charge them to help us with our products.
Yeah.
And then what we see is a slow ramp up of revenue in the first calendar year of next year. And then from July onwards, where we expect to see quite a significant ramp up. We believe that once we get 2 or 3 forwarders onto the platform, the rest will follow pretty quickly. We've got something called the Be Part of Something campaign, which investors can sign up to as well. So it sort of came along like Nike's Just Do It, just be part of something, and you can fill in the gaps. Be part of something great, be part of something, you know, revolutionary.
Awesome.
And that campaign has gained significant pipe. So we, you know, I get asked all the time, am I worried about selling the product? I'm really not.
Yeah.
Grady, I'm just not worried about that. We have a significant pipe and a path to revenue. For us, it's about making sure that we get the product on time, because if you're not first, you're last.
Exactly, especially in a highly competitive market. Now, finally, Mark, what does the news flow front look like for investors over the next 12 months, and why would it be a compelling time to invest in Yojee?
Sure. So on the TCMS side, we'll expect to close 2 or 3, again, big global logos, mainly in Southeast Asia, so predominantly Malaysia and Indonesia. You'll see the expansion of our existing logos, 𝗙𝗿𝗺𝗺, into different regions. But what I think investors should be looking for is, I'm a true believer of doing what you say, right? And so, like I said, looking for our next gate, which is our beta testing customers in October. And I would expect that once we announce that, you would see another significant increase in share price, because, again, investors like reliability. They like to invest in CEOs and companies that deliver on what they promise. So that'll be our next bit of news flow around Mosaic, and then obviously revenue-based contracts at the start of next year.
Absolutely. Mark, thank you so much for joining us from the helm here, and we love hearing the Yojee story. All the best for the next 12 months, and we really hope you enjoyed that episode of From the Helm with Bell Financial Group. I'm 𝗙𝗿𝗺𝗺. Have a wonderful day, and stay tuned for all upcoming interviews, market commentary and insights.
Thank you very much.